Zelators, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Why would we say we are independent? Yet we expect that whatever that we do should be governed by the people who came here so as to be less humans. We cannot govern ourselves. Let things and impose themselves on us and impose everything on us are still the ones that we think following whatever that they've given to us is the only way the African can be free. Yet when we walk out or walk around, we call ourselves independent people, free people who decide what we think is right for us. But in closed doors, we know that Africans are only free on paper. Are all the savior, the protector, the unifier, the messiah, the king of kings, the most loved. Captain Ibrahim Traore has turned everything upside down. And with what he has said, it is for us to change our mentality. It will be very sad that after listening to what Captain Ibrahim Traore said as an African, you will still sit here having that colonial mentality. According to all in all, democracy is not for us. African Union, the leaders that we have, all serve the interests of other people. African Union was formed by other people. That democracy kills. Democracy is not a system for you and I. We cannot practice what was imposed on us, yet we expect to have freedom. Captain Ibrahim Traore went ahead to tell us why he banned the political parties in Burkina Faso because we know that this unity is bringing. African Union, that we believe that is the mouthpiece of ours, is rather an organization that is controlled by other people.
Even the African Union doesn't belong to Africans. They are dictated to. They do whatever they're told to do. If they're told to issue a statement, they do it. Even the African Union building, it wasn't built by Africans. We have no shame. People need to forget about the issue of democracy. And that's a task. We have to tell the truth. Democracy is not for us. The kind of democracy those people want us to see, we're not interested in it. We don't even want it. Normally, if someone comes to talk to an African about democracy, if he comes to you like that talking about democracy, you should run away. Democracy kills. That's democracy. That's what they want. Look at Libya. It's an example right next to us. They lived in peace, didn't they? They lived in peace. Water was free. There were so many things that were free. When people got married, they already received social benefits and everything. But today, some Libyans walk around with jerry cans looking for water all over the place. Look at the misery there is. How many hundreds of thousands of children have died? That's democracy. Everywhere they want to install democracy in the world, it's in blood. May God spare us from this democracy. We have our own model. We're not even looking, it seems, for someone else's. We came to completely change the way things work, but above all to change mindsets so that people open their eyes, see the world, and so that we never fall into that trap again. People are here, democracy is slavery. There is no democracy in this world. They pretend there is. They do as they please, and to establish it, they kill. Democracy that kills, we do not want democracy. May God spare us from that kind of democracy. We are focused on our conquest, on our rebuilding, and on the revolution. It is the only path to development.
Moving forward, Captain Traore dropped a bombshell assessment of what politics in Africa has become. He explained in detail why Burkina Faso has removed political parties from the system. Listen carefully to his reasoning.
The activities of political parties were suspended and subsequently we saw their dissolution. So what message is behind these decisions?
What message? What has politics really accomplished in Burkina? Not much. Okay, message. What has politics managed to do in Burkina? Not much. It has divided us, that's a fact. Even within families, two brothers who belong to different parties will develop a fierce hatred for each other. You can't even imagine. And that's dangerous. In terms of development, you know that politics is like a business in Africa. That is to say, if I am the president of a party, I recruit you because you are smooth talkers, skilled deceivers. We flatter people, they follow us. We have business people on the left and right who help finance us, and then you go and bribe people. Once you've been thoroughly corrupted, if we win the elections, what can we do? Steal to get a return on investment. And those business people who financed you, you have no choice. You are obliged to give them all the government contracts. You can't make them pay customs duties properly. You can't make them pay taxes properly. Because they need a return on their investment. That's it. That's the reality. Even us, when we arrived, there were business people who approached us too, to finance or something. We are not politicians. If you want to give money, that's what led us to create a donation reception committee, if you remember. Afterwards, now the FSP. Because we were looking for money, but at the same time we said, well, since you have too much and you have a bad habit of giving while taking, and we put the treasury into an account. Now, if afterwards you come back and say, oh, well, we're supporting you, but I need my trucks at customs, they said this here, you need to help us get them out. That's usually what happens. They even explain the method to you because they say you're young or that you don't know how things work. That doesn't work with me. You will pay all the customs fees, you will pay all your taxes properly. If you want to blackmail someone because you supported them or whatever, let it be at the treasury. That helps the fighters. So, this way of doing politics and everything, we've put an end to it. For that, we need a new political ideology. There needs to be training before we talk about politics in our own way. So that's why we suspended it. And afterwards, we dissolved it. But even they, the very ones who were involved in politics, agree. The RPP, it's not other people, it's the same individuals, but I think people now understand that they were manipulated, that they were on the wrong path. And now we are in the process of rebuilding something new. So in a way, it's not different people who left, it's the same individuals. But I think there was a turning point that allows us to start again on a new foundation. So the imperialist parties have been dissolved, but the people are here, being rebuilt, ready to get things moving.
Next, Traoré was asked about the former president of Burkina Faso, who was arrested after authorities discovered he had been planning multiple coups against the current leadership while hiding in Togo. This is how Captain Traoré responded.
Former head of state, ex-Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba was extradited from Togo for acts undermining state security and attempts at destabilization. What is the next step for this case?
Well, this is not the first attempt. Since we've been here, there have been attempts. This time, I think there was overwhelming evidence that had to be presented because, well, there were several attempts on his part, but we didn't try to extradite him or anything like that. Often, we would just tell the Togolese authorities, well, here's what he's doing, you should advise him. Because when he left, we never tried to do that. To start a witch hunt, as people like to say. You know, we never opened a corruption case or anything against him, because that's a principle for me. A former head of state, if he was a head of state, I'm not going to hassle someone over that, because that's a responsibility that was entrusted to him. He led millions of people, even if it was just for a month, he did it. So, out of respect for that spirit, whether it's President Roch, Damiba, or anyone else, I have never hassled anyone. Not that they're blameless. There are many things, but I decided not to hassle anyone. He should have just settled quietly in Togo. Unfortunately, he got caught up in a spiral where he absolutely had to destroy us at any cost. We tried to contain those people, but when you look at the last attempt, there were some very serious things where he was telling those who were supposed to take action, and that there would be a lot of deaths, and not just to kill as many as possible. Because to achieve their goal, they have to kill and not even care about it. Because they have ties with even worse people who will kill many others around to keep the units busy so they can't come to help us or support us. So something like that, something so planned, where so many innocent lives are taken needlessly, well, we have sent all the evidence to the authorities in Volés. It's not over, and I think he has been heard. The father, the judge, it's real. So that's why we extracted him right away. For now, he's here, we're digging into it, and it's one of those cases. Because there are a lot of things surrounding this. What we discovered is that it involves many countries, countries you wouldn't expect, countries that were supposedly friends. It involves a lot of people, a lot of prominent figures around the world. We realized that there was actually a huge operation behind it. In any case, a judge has already seen it. It's serious. It's very serious. And for us, it gave us a lot of information, a lot of lessons.
The conversation then turned to one of Traoré's flagship projects, a major road construction initiative that has sent shockwaves through certain circles across the continent. Because Burkina Faso is building a road the country has never had before, here is what he said.
Mr. President, you have launched a gigantic project, the construction of the Ouagadougou Highway. It seems to be a project that you care about deeply.
I care about it a lot, and as I said, it's not the only road we're going to build. But the Ouagadougou Highway, if you take the Boubou Road, look, for the past 2 years now, just look at the number of tragedies we've had on that road. The road is very narrow. There are too many fatal accidents. Every day there are fatal accidents on that stretch of road. We need a road. We found a project that already existed, but it's just 2 lanes each way. And when I took over, I tried to see which companies had submitted proposals. First of all, they were foreign companies. The construction cost for about 300 kilometers, 2 lanes each way, was over 1,000 billion, 1,032 billion for the cheapest option. Well, I said 2 lanes each way is already outdated. With 2 lanes each way, if a truck breaks down, it just stops there, and that's it. Everything is blocked. You are the number of cars, the traffic flow on the R1, so it's outdated. So I asked for it to be 4 lanes each way. As I said, we often have this complex, this misfortune. Black people don't believe in themselves. Even when I said 4 lanes each way, there were ministry officials who smiled. It's impossible. I said, all right. We put the project on hold. And so I pushed the mayor to pay for as much equipment as possible, down to every detail. Today they have everything. All the machines needed to build the red road section, all the machines needed for the asphalt, even up to the granite quarry crusher. So they are completely self-sufficient. We are able to build our own highway. After that, there are a lot of highways. I want all the regional capitals on the island to be connected by highways. All the exits from Burkina should be highways. Roads are essential. For the economy and for our forces, the highway network in Burkina will be the densest in Africa, according to our projections. And it keeps coming. We still have nearly a dozen brigades that are yet to arrive.
Traoré was also questioned about Burkina Faso's gold resources and the government's strategy for controlling and managing the nation's gold reserves. His answer was characteristically firm and transparent. Listen to what he revealed.
Gold is a safe haven, as we like to say. With currencies that are unstable and everything, everyone is looking for gold to build up a reserve, because you never know. You know, we went through a brief period in 2023 when they tried to block us on everything. When we tried to pay for drones, our transactions wouldn't go through. We looked for alternative ways, because just like with our equipment, we stepped outside the official channel of sending things to ECOWAS to get authorization. When we say ECOWAS, it's actually the French who are there, who give the authorization to acquire certain weapons or not. We didn't want to go through that channel. So, our transactions were also blocked with various arguments. Arguments that don't hold up. So here we are, the war is happening and we want drones, we want weapons, but we can't get them. At one point it was about hydrocarbons. Sarneville's transactions aren't going through the system, so these are indirect sanctions meant to suffocate us. And at that time, diplomats came to tell us that we had better change things, because we wouldn't even be able to pay salaries by March. It's been 10 months. We wouldn't be able to because we have no control over the economy. They're incapable of handling things. I said, there's no problem. Wait. So one day I had all gold production from all the mines blocked. I gathered everything and told the partner to come and collect the gold and send us our drones. That's what we did. Our drones came, they took their gold and they left. We need money, we need someone. So gold is important. People need gold and we need something in this world. Anyway, it's not a way of saying how people are going to handle things, but it does take courage, that's true. But that's what we had to do for a certain period, and people understood, well, they found a way to get by, they eased up a bit. And those same people even came to buy gold from us. I mean, the BCE. So gold is very important, and I think everyone should try to keep a reserve of gold as much as possible. We didn't control our sector, we saw the data, but we created all the mechanisms so that today we more or less control the production sector. Currently, we are acquiring shares in many existing industrial units. We have reviewed the mining contract, so to speak, and everything else. In any case, we have a good relationship with those who are there, who are doing the mining, and Burkina will benefit from its gold. Because that's the problem everywhere in Africa. You can't understand how you have such a quantity of gold, and yet they say you are the poorest. You are the last ones. But why is it that there are countries here in Africa that have oil? If you go to the Gulf countries, they have oil. They are more developed than African countries. But we are cursed. We need to ask ourselves some questions. The real ones have changed. But if the leaders don't want to change and the people also accept their miserable conditions, well, what can we really do? We don't want to see our people in misery. We may not have oil, that's true, but we have gold. The little that gold or other resources can provide, we will use it wisely so that our people can know happiness. That's our main focus. There's no reason why people who have gold in this world, they develop and yet we do not. Moreover, it doesn't lead to development. So we've made considerable progress in mastering our gold in recent years, and that's satisfying. And we're going to keep going like this until we regain full control over our gold. That's what I wanted to say.
Precisely, Mr. President. Can we have an idea of the amount that makes up Burkina's gold reserves at the moment?
No, I can't tell you that. That's not something you say publicly. That's something that is kept secret. Even the countries that claim to tell you how many tons of gold they have, it's not true. That's not the reality. You'll never be told the exact amount. If people know exactly how much gold you have in reserve, it means they know your foreign exchange capacity and everything else. They can anticipate a lot of things. And then, it's not something we've done, it's something we're doing. I told the minister, every day that God gives us, and whenever it's possible, pay them. So every week we keep paying to build up reserves. That's it. And that's so that when we want to negotiate with everyone, we are respected. That's it. No one should think that if they don't come and do their part, then they're not involved. We're not on that path. If you want to show us that you don't respect us, we'll set you aside and move on to something else. So we keep building up our reserves. It's for respect in tomorrow's economic exchanges. Tomorrow. And that's very important.
Tensions rose when the discussion shifted to the European Union's pressure on Niger, where the EU has been demanding the release of former President Mohamed Bazoum. Captain Traoré became visibly angry and delivered a strong rebuttal. Here is exactly what he said.
Your Excellencies, on March 12th, the European Parliament adopted a resolution for the release of former President Mohamed Bazoum. You have already issued a statement. Is this an interference in the affairs of the Confederation?
Of course, it's interference. Niger belongs to the European Union. They haven't left us alone. Have we ever interfered in their affairs? Bazoum is Nigerian. He's not from the European Union. Let them tell us. If he was an agent they placed who isn't Nigerian, who came here on a mission, then they should just tell us. If we're going to return their money, we'll see what we do before giving it back or not. This needs to stop now. People need to stop behaving as if we're still in colonial times. And that's exactly what we're describing, what we're fighting against, alongside many African leaders.
He then turned his attention to the African Union itself, blasting the continental body without hesitation. Traoré stated fearlessly that the African Union is not for Africans and explained how it is controlled. This was one of the most direct criticisms of the AU heard from any sitting African leader in recent years.
And look at us, even the African Union doesn't belong to Africans. They are dictated to. They do whatever they're told to do. If they're told to issue a statement, they do it. Even the African Union building, it wasn't built by Africans. We have no shame. And as long as we keep showing this attitude, they'll keep behaving this way. European Parliament, but take care of the European Union's problem. The people over there aren't suffering. The farmers over there are suffering. We see them, they're beating their farmers in the streets. With strange agreements, they can't even survive anymore. People are committing suicide over there. But take care of your own problems. Fight against your oligarchies that are impoverishing your people instead of coming here and saying, hey, they won't have Africa's energy anymore. In any case, if it's from here, we'll fight so that there's nothing left here. If you want, you can come and cooperate properly and legitimately. But if it's just to come and take, never. That's it. The battle is over energy. Uranium, oil, even our gold. That's the battle. For a long time you have been looting over there. And now they're left in the dark. You're in the light, you do whatever you want. But just wait. Okay, we're getting ready.
Scientists come out with beautiful scripts that they read to us, and we believe that these are Pan-Africans because of the things that they say. Like Captain Ibrahim Traore said, even the statement that these people make, they have to seek permission. The things that you see your leaders championing, pushing ahead, that is why we have leaders who can talk, yet they can't do anything. What has democracy ever done for us in Africa? Democracy has only succeeded in making sure that the African never moves forward, because all the leaders that are under the system called democracy are controlled by other people. These leaders are not there in you and I, our interests. These are leaders that are there to serve people. Like Julius Maada Bio said, they are there to protect borders instead of protecting us, the people. That is why under the same system, we have leaders who are looting. The people who are fighting for democracy to remain in Africa are the few people who are enjoying. These are the house slaves who believe that because they sit on the same table with the oppressor, they are the same. Democracy has only come to divide us. These political parties that we are having in Africa are dividing us to the point that even bloodlines are losing their identity because of these political parties. These things that these people are sponsoring are there to continue to disunite the African. But the African youth still don't see. The same youth that are suffering are the same people that will sit on national television or go around social media defending those things that are the reason to which we are all going through what we are going through. To the point that African youth with vibrant and energetic energy are there with the organization called Unemployed Graduates. Democracy has been a trap. And that is why all these leaders we see and we call them African leaders can ever act. Because the people who gave us the system runs that African Union. And even before you become the president of Africa, you must dance their tune. Because when you listen to what Oga Tari has been saying, Donald Trump has been saying ever since he went to attack Venezuela, came to Iran, he says everything must be in their interest. They cannot have a leader in Iran who doesn't align with the principles and the interests of the United States of America. So it means that all the leaders that we have in Africa, except Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, are doing the bid of these people. So that is the reason to which they will never target them. They sponsor political parties. Our leaders have to now get money from ABC people. So at the end of the day, when they get the power, they have to award them with contracts. People do what they want in the country and go scot-free because they sponsored parties. And when these political parties come into office, they have to do the bid of these people. And there's nothing they can say. They can only act in speech, but they can never act in person. We must be ready to unite ourselves and give back everything that these people gave to us. Why is it that they never left anything tangible for us, but things that will divide us are the things that they left for us? What have we achieved ever since we started practicing democracy? If not division, if not backwardness, if not our resources leaving the continent every blessed day. So if you are a youth and you still believe in that system called democracy, then you have a long way to go. And you really need to wake up, because these things are the things other people are using to continue to be sucking the resources, because they can never have that in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. In Africa, West Africa, and in Burkina Faso.